All right. So door in the way. Oh, it's in the way if it's there. Not if it's all the way back. Snippy out. I don't hear the echo today, so tricky. It's so tricky. It's so tricky. What's that? Right. Tricky. Run DMC. Okay. Let's settle down, Charlie. Talking to myself because I'm the only one that watches these videos. Actually, I don't even watch the video. I used to watch them, and now I just do them, post them. I watch a little bit, the very first part. To start this yoga routine today, which is, I don't know if I said it, I have my calendar here now, 131. I was going through quotes. I started off looking at quotes for light because we're focusing on sun salutations, but that'll be another explanation about a quote. And I ran across this quote from Rumi. And what caught my eye was the word barriers. Let's say supposedly from Rumi. It doesn't matter if it's really from Rumi or not. It's the truth of the quote. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built up against it. Actually, it's built against it. Let me read it again. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Now, when I read that quote, I was reading through a whole bunch. The word barriers caught my attention because that's what we're doing on the yoga mat. We are getting rid of the barriers that prevent the mind and body from becoming one. Those barriers are judgment, trying to control, not accepting where you are in a pose, and all those types of barriers. And those barriers will prevent the mind and body from becoming one. And when you get rid of them, the mind and body become one. And that is yoga. And when the mind and body is one, then you kind of fall into the oneness of all existence, capital O. And that is what Rumi is saying in this quote, or at least how I understand what he's saying. Now, knowing a little bit about Rumi, I don't know much about Rumi, but I know he's a Sufi. That's basically all I know. And his path is the mystic part of Islam. So love here for Rumi is oneness, the oneness of God. And the oneness of God is love. Now, it's love in the sense that not that God loves you or you love God, but that God is love. And that's in the Quran in chapter 11, verse 90, and then chapter 84, verse 14. And I know those verses, and I know it's in the Quran because that was an important part for me to understand God as love. And that's in the Bible too. 1 John 4:8, chapter 4, verse 8. God is love. And in the Quran, in verse 11, 90, and 85, 14, God is love because his attribute, what we call an attribute, is really an essence, it's more than an attribute, more than a name. It is what God is, the loving. So back to Rumi. So Rumi experiences God as love. And when he experiences that love, he's experiencing God. And the barrier, or the barriers for Rumi, or in the philosophy or the theology of what Rumi is explaining in that quote, let me pull it up again, is to ask for forgiveness. Now, this is the Islamic understanding, forgiveness, and forgiveness of your sins. And that hinges on the verse in the Quran 47:19, which is the oneness of God. So you ask for forgiveness so you can fold into or fall into the oneness of God. And you do that by asking forgiveness. That's what the quote is saying with Rumi. Recognize these barriers, get rid of them, become one with God. Boom. That is yoga. Now with Rumi, that's love. God is love. He gets rid of all these barriers, and then he becomes love. Almost like he becomes God. Not almost, he becomes God because he's becoming love. Now, of course, that's against traditional Islam. It's really because it's a language. The words aren't being understood by the traditionalists. If they really backed up and listened, they would be like, yeah, that's true. But it has to do with yoga. So what does that have to do with yoga? Yoga, well, I explained in the beginning, it's experiencing that oneness. And that's what we're doing, like Rumi was saying in the quote. We're getting rid of those barriers on the yoga mat. We're getting rid of self-judgment. We're getting rid of judgment. We're getting rid of trying to be somewhere. We're trying to just accept ourselves in the yoga poses. We're accepting who we are, essentially. And you're doing that by tapping into these types of mindsets of feeling opened when you're in a pose, accepting where you are in a pose, so on and so forth. And you take that mindset off and you apply it in the so-called real world, and you accept yourself in the real world. You don't judge others in the real world. You don't try to control everything. That's not to say you don't handle things. You don't, when things come up, you don't try to do the best. It just means you're tapping into oneness and you're experiencing the oneness of all existence. And that's what we're learning on the yoga mat. So that's what I get from the Sufi quote from Rumi. So today, and I think I'm going to start doing this, is basically around two sun salutations. My goal was to do different poses, but two things. One, I believe two sun salutations are sufficient for a morning yoga routine. Now, if you're in the evening, you're somewhere across the world where it's 6 p.m., I don't know. Sun salutations are just as good because the light that you're tapping into, capital L, light, is within. So today, and the second thing is I need a better camera. Until I get a better camera, I can't do other poses because they don't look properly. See, watch, when I back up, it's like that picture you see of that tall guy and the short guy. I don't get shorter. It's just the room just is weird. And it's from the camera because it's a Logitech camera that does a wide lens. And it costs like $160. And so all I can do. Now I can use my cell phone camera to do, believe it or not, better than this camera, but I need 1,000 subscribers and I don't have that. And if that comes, that comes. Hopefully it comes, of course. I'm doing this because I want to do it, but also it would be awesome to have 1 million subscribers. I would be lying if I said it wouldn't be awesome. So let's go into mountain pose. Feet are shoulder width apart. Toes go up. Spread the toes as wide as you can. Then each toe touches the floor one at a time. Knees are bent. Hips are tilted. Arms are relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. No tension anywhere. You're finding that spot where the skeleton is just standing. So you're going to lengthen up. So you think of a string on top of the head. Let me bend down some. Pull yourself up. You don't bend down. I'm just showing you. That's what you do. You pull yourself up. You lengthen yourself up. Then you line the bones up of the skeleton. And let the skeleton just stand as if you were just your skeleton. You're finding that spot where the skeleton is standing by itself. You're just going to focus on the breathing, thinking of nothing else but the breathing. It's very important to stay focused on the breathing. Your mind will wander and you'll start to think about other things. That's natural. Then when you realize you're thinking about something else, just gently bring your focus back to the breathing. And the breathing is important because it heightens your awareness, lets you know what's going on in the body, lets you know the stretch that's happening, lets you know of what maybe so-called issue you have in the lower back or your knee, but you're not focused on those things. You're focusing on the breathing. You're aware of them, but you're not focused on them. Very important mindset. Essentially, you're not your problems. You're aware of them. You know what's going on, but you're not your problems. You're the thing that's watching your thinking. You're the thing that's aware. Palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Push the arms out, up and back. Inhale is the first stretch, so go nice and easy. And then exhale. As you exhale, you hinge forward from the lower back. And we're just going to fall into the ragdoll. And then with the ragdoll, you're just hanging. The arms are dangling. The head is dangling. No tension anywhere. And you're just focusing on the breathing. Thinking of nothing else but the breathing. And you're not pulling yourself down. You're not pushing yourself down. You're not judging yourself. You might be up higher than you want to be. Let go of that mindset. That's not what we're doing. That's judgment. That will prevent the mind and body from becoming one. Just like the quote I was reading. Recognize those barriers and then let go of those barriers. Palms to the calves, elbows into the sides of the legs. You're going to arch the back, raise the head. Inhale. Inhale as much as you can. Then exhale. As you exhale, you pull yourself in and down. Push all the air out. Get all the air out. And again, arch the back, raise the head. Inhale. And exhale, pull yourself in and down. Push all the air out. And again, arch the back, raise the head. Inhale. And exhale, pull yourself in and down. Push all the air out. Then we're going to do two more. Arch the back, raise the head. Inhale. Then exhale, pull yourself in and down. Push all the air out. Last one. Arch the back, raise the head. Inhale. Then exhale, pull yourself in and down. Push all the air out. Opposite sides of the feet. Left leg goes back. You're going to go into a low lunge. With a low lunge, top the foot to the floor. Knees to the floor. Hips are square and they're pushing forward diagonally. Back is straight or maybe arched. And the front knee is not over the toes. If the front knee is over the toes, lengthen up some and just feel opened. Now here, if your back is straight, you're reaching out. And if it's arched, you're pushing the hip bones forward, arching the back, bringing the head up and back, and you're feeling opened. Openness is a mindset. So even if you're feeling like, man, I'm not opening up enough and you're down, let go of that mindset. That is not what we're doing. That's not the type of yoga we're doing. We're getting rid of those barriers. You're feeling opened. Openness is extremely important. I wish I could speak better. Extremely important because it's a mindset. We're learning openness on the yoga mat. You're going to take that mindset that you're learning on the yoga mat of openness and apply it in the so-called real world. And you're going to be open to new ideas, new adventures, new thoughts, new beliefs. You're going to be open. That doesn't mean you accept it as your personal beliefs, but you're listening. That's all part of the yoga too, listening to your body, accepting. It's all one big mindset of being one. Now with the back foot, you're going to curl the toes under, knee goes up, high lunge. We're just going to settle here for a second or two. Then you move into the downward dog. Now with the downward dog, you're pushing into it. Arms are straight, legs are straight, tailbones to the ceiling, heels are towards the floor. And you are pushing into this pose. But you're only pushing to the spot right before you feel like, man, I shouldn't go any further. Find that spot, settle there, accept where you are, and focus on the breathing. Now, acceptance is extremely important, and that's what we're learning in this pose, in all the poses actually. You're taking that mindset of acceptance off the yoga mat. You're accepting who you are, you're accepting others, you're accepting. And acceptance, in a way, is a form of openness. When you're accepting, you're open. All the same mindset. Now, it's important to understand accepting doesn't mean you take negativity, you let people treat you in a negative way. That's not what I'm talking about. Acceptance doesn't mean you take negativity. It means you recognize it. That you listen to yourself. That you handle it appropriately. Now you slide into the up dog, drop down to the knees and your chest. You slide up and top of the feet, sir. Top of the feet. Top of the feet. No, that's wrong. Top of the feet are to the floor. Of course, the palms are to the floor. You're opening up. Now, to modify this pose, and this is part of listening to the body. So when you listen to the body, you're like, you know what? I can't do the upward dog. So you're going to go to hands and knees. You're going to arch the back, raise the head, doing the cow. Or you're going to go into small cobra. Pull yourself up. Chest is off the floor. Palms are touching the floor, but you're not using them. Or you're going to modify the upward dog. You're listening to yourself. That's what I'm talking about, acceptance. So when you're in the so-called real world, something negative happens, you listen to yourself and you adjust, just like you're doing in the upward dog here. You adjust. And then back to downward dog, pushing into it. Learning to listen to yourself is extremely important, especially in today's society. Everybody's telling you what to do. Listen, you're your own guru. That's what you're learning here. Learning to listen to yourself. Self-talk. Talk it over with yourself. If you believe in God, you talk it over with God within. That's what you're listening to. That's who you follow. Yourself. If you're a believer in God, you listen to God. You take in what others say, but you don't listen and just follow. That's what you're learning. This is the type of yoga that I'm teaching. Type of yoga, because yoga is a mindset on the mat and off the mat. It's 24/7. If there was time. You know, time is an illusion. I'm just joking. Time is an illusion, but I'm just joking. Top of the foot's to the floor and back. Knees to the floor. Hips are square, pushing forward diagonally. Back is straight or arched, and the front knee is not over the toes. If it is, lengthen up some. And if the back is straight, you're reaching out. And if it's arched, You're doing a scoop and you're feeling open. Now, believe it or not, I'm trying to arch my back. I know my back's not arched, and I can see it right there in the video. But that's what I'm doing. And I'm feeling open because in yoga, here, we're feeling opened. No matter where you are physically, don't judge it. Once you're settled, you're doing what you're doing to the best you can physically and even mentally. Let's say you could do it better physically, but mentally you don't feel like doing it. Listen to your mind. Listen to yourself. Say, hey, there's a reason I don't want to do it. Okay? Listen to yourself. Open up and just feel opened. You're accepting. You're listening to yourself, feeling open, accepting, not judging, all these positive qualities. You're taking all these off the yoga mat. You're going to go to high lunge, so curl the toes under in the back, knee goes up, high lunge, then move into the standing forward bend, pull yourself in and down, and just focus on the breathing, thinking of nothing else but the breathing. Now here, a very important mindset is to become aware. And you do that by focusing on the breathing. 100% focus is on the breathing. You are pulling yourself in down, and the forehead is going to the knees. But you're letting yourself breathe. So when you inhale, the belly swells with air. It pushes you out of the pose slightly. Let yourself be pushed out. And when you exhale, you go back into the pose. Let yourself go back into the pose. And when you're focused on the breathing, it heightens your awareness and it makes you aware of that subtle movement. And here the mindset is awareness, the awareness of subtleness. You're taking that mindset off the yoga mat and applying it in the so-called real world, where you're aware of subtleness that's happening around you. Very important. The palms together, reach out, up and back, inhale. Turn the palms out, push the air down and out. Exhale. And again, inhale. Exhale. Pull yourself in, down, so palms go to the calves, elbows into the sides of the legs. And let yourself breathe and focus on the breathing. Thinking of nothing else but the breathing. And that heightens your awareness and lets you become aware of the subtleness of the body moving when the belly inhales and exhales. When the lungs inhale and exhale. When the belly moves in and out. You're aware of the stretch that's happening in the hamstrings. You're feeling something maybe in your lower back. You're aware of what's happening outside the yoga mat. Like me, I'm aware outside. Aware of the crisp air. I'm aware of some cars. But I'm not focused on it. Focusing is heightening my awareness. It heightens your awareness. Palms to the sides of the feet. Left leg is back. Low lunge. Feeling opened. And just accept where you are. Acceptance is part of openness. Openness is part of acceptance. It coexists. So when you're accepting where you are, it's in a way a form of openness. You're open to accepting yourself. Accepting who you are. Essentially accepting who you are. That's what we're learning. It's all deep stuff, man. It's really not deep. Just when you get rid of all the barriers that make it not deep. That make it not seem deep. Once you get rid of those barriers that make it seem that it's deep. Can I explain myself? Then it becomes, hey, that makes sense. It's a way of changing your thinking. So high lunge, then downward dog, pushing into it. You are pushing into it. You go to the spot right before you feel like, man, I shouldn't go any further. Find that spot, settle there, and focus on breathing. And then finding that spot and settling there is listening to yourself. You're becoming your own guru. You're not listening to me. I mean, you're listening to me in the sense, hey, that's the next pose we're going into. But I'm not your guru. I don't want to be your guru. You're your own guru. It's 2019. You're becoming your own guru. Different times, you know. Yoga was first introduced or understood, and all the centuries it's been going through. Maybe gurus were important. But now we have Google. Google is your guru. Just joking. Then slide up, upward dog. In a way, I'm not joking. In a way, I'm not joking. Always want to listen to yourself. We're not in a little small town anymore. The internet does connect the entire world. So you want to listen to yourself. Analyze everything, self-talk. Talk to yourself about things. Talk to God. Whatever you. If you're an atheist, you talk to yourself, which is fine. If you're a believer in God, you talk to God. That's fine too. Maybe you're talking to yourself. Who knows? That's what an atheist would say. Yeah, you're actually talking to yourself. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is gaining the positivities of self-talk. Then back to downward dog. Pushing into it. Really pushing into it. Now this time, it's the last downward dog. So you're going as far as you can. Again, you're not listening to me. If you're thinking, man, I can't go any further, then don't. I'm just giving you a suggestion. You might go into it, stay there for 10 seconds, like, nah, I need to bring myself out of it. Do it. Bring yourself out of it. Or go into it more. I'm just telling you, hey, the pose is the downward dog. Then left foot is up between the hands into a low lunge. You're feeling opened. Feel opened. Don't judge it. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge the pose. Even if you're feeling like, man, I'm doing this perfectly. Maybe you are. Maybe you're doing the textbook pose. But that's even judgment too. It's awesome. That's great. I'm not taking that away from anyone. But that's not what we're doing. We're letting go of all judgment. And that's even judgment too. And that will prevent the mind and body from becoming one, which is yoga. The oneness is yoga. And that's what we're doing. Just feel opened. Feel open. And then toes under the back. Knee goes up, high lunge, then standing forward bend. Pull yourself in and down, focusing on the breathing. And you are pulling yourself in and down, and you are closing up, but at the same time, you're feeling opened. Okay, so how do you feel open when you're closed up? By accepting where you are. Acceptance has energy, there's openness. When you accept, boom, you tap into openness. It's all one mindset. I'm just splitting it up with words. It's actually all one mindset. And palms together, reach out, up and back, inhale, exhale. Then back to mountain pose. Now with mountain pose, remember, feet are shoulder width apart. Bring the toes up. Spread the toes as wide as you can. Itch your arm if you have an itch on your arm. I don't know why my arm is itching. This one's now itching. Now that was psychological. And then each toe touches the floor one at a time. Knees are bent, hips are tilted, arms are relaxed, shoulders relaxed. No tension anywhere, and you're lengthening up. And then you're going to line the bones up as if you were just your skeleton, and the skeleton is just standing as if you were just your skeleton. You're going to focus on the breathing, thinking of nothing else but the breathing. So you're going to watch yourself breathe. So you do that by focusing on the belly. You inhale, the belly swells with air. You exhale, the belly goes in. Watch that. Or bring your focus to the tip of the nose and watch the air go in and out. And watch that. Now, it's natural to start controlling your breathing. But you're already breathing automatically. And you're just watching it. So when you realize, hey, I'm controlling my breathing, let go and just watch it. And what will happen is you'll start to think about other things. You'll start to think about work or what you have to do or what you're going to eat. For me, I'm thinking, hey, should I get a second cup of coffee? I mean, I really thought that. I think that often, all day. I love coffee. Coffee, I was going to say coffee is my God, but that wouldn't be appropriate, but I already said it, so it's not appropriate. Is it appropriate? It is appropriate. It doesn't matter what I say. I mean, it matters what I say, but that doesn't matter. So you'll start to think about other things. When you realize you're starting to think about other things, you're like, hey, I've been thinking about coffee. Don't judge it. Just bring your focus back to your breathing. And it'll happen again. And then you go back to breathing. What happens is that you become aware that you're the thing that's watching your thinking. You're watching yourself breathe. You're aware that you're the watcher. You are not your thoughts. You're not the control. You're the thing above all that that's watching it. You're the seer, capital S. The self, capital S. The observer, capital O. You are the oneness. So we'll stay here just a little bit longer. So just watch yourself breathe. And bring the palms together. Namaste. That's it. So that's 131 YouTube Live Yoga Routine. It's written on my calendar, but I can't see my calendar. So I had to see it in my head. Do I see my calendar? No, I see the blurry calendar that I just looked at. So I will see you tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. Arizona time, Mountain Standard Time. So namaste, peace and love.